At AARP, we believe that what we do for all. We focus on issues that matter to people age 50 plus and their families. But at the end of the day, those same issues help create stronger, more livable communities for everyone. In this voter guide, you'll hear directly from candidates running for local office. These are the leaders who will help shape what our community looks like in the years ahead, from housing and transportation to public safety and neighborhood services. Because when it comes down to it, local policy matters. In fact, some of the most important decisions that affect our daily lives are made right here at the local level. Sioux Falls was the first community in South Dakota to join the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities in 2019. With a number of people aged 65 and over predicted to increase over the next 10 years, what steps would you take to ensure residents are able to access housing, transportation, and other services to ensure they can age in place?
A lot of families are asking that same question. How do we keep our loved ones in their homes and their neighborhoods as they age? And for me, that's a very personal question. You see, I grew up in a culture where we were not only taught to respect our elders, we were expected to seek wisdom from them. And I was really lucky for it. For example, my godmother taught me how to ballroom dance as a young teenager, and that taught me how to follow before I could lead. And my godfather, he taught me how to sell out of an old Xerox manual, and I still do some of those techniques today. I'm a Shriner, and when I walk in the room, I oftentimes bring down the average age. But I love it because I get to learn from people every single day. So when we look at our city, we need to look at creating a city that's indicative to helping all generations thrive. So that maybe means looking at ordinances to help allow for accessory dwelling units or mother-in-law suites, or making sure that our paratransit and bus systems are reliable. But most importantly, we should be in the business of placemaking for all generations. Look at Jacobson Plaza. It's such a fantastic boon to our community. You see grandparents and grandkids and whole families enjoying it. I'd love to work towards building a city where we're not just putting our elders in a separate space, but we're actually actively involving them in our community, placemaking for them so they can be connected. They helped us build this city. They deserve to stay here and be connected with it too.
Well, aging in place is something I've thought of a lot as the CEO of the YMCA and having run nonprofits for the last 10 years. There are 3 key things to letting someone age in place and key steps that we should take. The first of all, housing, as you talked about, is very important. We need to make sure each neighborhood has not only individual large family houses, but also has mixed-use housing, has apartments. So as someone ages in place, they're able to downsize and stay in their neighborhood. Transportation, very important too. Not only making sure our roads are in good shape, but also making sure that there's public transportation so people can stay independent. You can get to your doctor's office, the grocery store, the church. These are key zoning things that the city council does. And working together with the council, we're able to make sure each neighborhood is correctly zoned for that. On top of that, another important part is the little things, connections, making sure that each sidewalk is plowed and kept in good condition. So as you age in the same neighborhood, you are safe to walk around in a well-lit, safe neighborhood. That's where public safety comes into it. As a city councilor, public safety is a key part of my agenda, as is learning more about zoning, making sure that I can use my experience from running nonprofits for the last 10 years, building consensus with positive, efficient, transparent servant leadership to ensure that the city is well set up that you can age in place within Sioux Falls.
That's a really good question. Increasing costs are very worrisome for seniors. That's something I've heard a lot as I go door to door and talk to people, and it seems to be a kind of universal concern. Many seniors are on fixed incomes, so increasing costs are very hard for them to handle. And one big thing that seems to be very common as I talk to people is property taxes. People who own homes obviously are very concerned because they've seen those taxes go up. And then also those, interestingly, that rent also understand that their rents are going up due to property tax increases. The other 2 things I've also heard about is sales taxes. The state just increased the sales tax, and then the cities were given the option of increasing sales tax. So people are concerned about that. They're also concerned about use fees like driver's license increases and those sorts of things. So one of the things I think that I've heard across the board from seniors is we have a limited income, and if you could please do something to help me out so that the spending is not so high that I have to move.
I think that comes down to really two words: intentional planning. I think where we have to focus to make that happen is it comes down to zoning planning, to make sure we've got appropriate zoning that allows for multifamily, single family, and everything in between in a district where you can also have other things that people can walk to, amenities and services. So I think intentional planning of our zoning and making sure we can talk to developers about what's going to work for them economically, but also offering something affordable to people coming. But along with intentional planning is intentional planning of our utilities. Because if we want affordability to be able to stay in place, it's about keeping those utilities at an appropriate rate. I think we've done a great job in the city of Sioux Falls with electric and water and all of those things, but that's been very intentionally planned throughout with the infrastructure that we've put in place. The other thing that let's not forget is the importance of intentional planning around recreation. And especially that age 65 and over, we want people to stay active. And so we've got a goal of a park within a half mile, basically, that anybody can get to. And we've got to intentionally plan our CIP budget to make sure we can continue to do that. And we've just started some indoor recreation centers. And I think those indoor recreation centers, we have two. One started, one more coming, but I think a couple of more are going to be critical, especially for that 65 and over. A place for them to go and walk, a place for them to play pickleball, but more than that, it's about relationship. And so the community recreation centers for me are a key piece of aging, as it gets them back engaged with the community. So that's how I would approach it, is by encouraging intentional planning in those areas.
So actually, one of the things that I did last week, I met with the Tower of David, and what that is, there's disabled and retirement living in those apartments. They're actually downtown, and they had mentioned that some of them have to walk anywhere from 4 to 6 blocks to get to the bus system, to get on a bus. And that is one thing that I plan on doing, is increase the stops and make them more accessible for people to get on them, especially people like, so there's a lot of people in wheelchairs that they should, or in walkers, that they shouldn't have to walk that far. And then I'm a big advocate on affordable living, and actually I'm co-founder of East River Tenants Union. So that's part of the reason why I'm a big advocate for affordable living and decreasing the property taxes. Let's stop raising them, decrease them, or leave them where they're at.
Thank you for taking time to watch this voter guide. We hope this helps you stay informed, engaged, and ready to take part in building a community that works for people of all ages. Stay connected with AARP South Dakota at aarp.org/SD. And remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 2nd.